More details have been released as to why Molly Qerim abruptly quit ESPN. And when I say abruptly quit, I mean she left work, I think it was on Monday, and she never came back.
Sports media world, Molly Qerim, I believe that's how you say her last name. She is actually going to be stepping down from First Take today, or she at the end of the year, she was going to be stepping down as the host of First Take.
It's not every day you see ESPN, the smooth, untouchable giant of sports media, suddenly implode right in front of us. For years, First Take ran like a machine, and Molly Qerim was its polished centerpiece, the morning show queen who held it all together. But out of nowhere, the network hit the eject button and didn't even blink doing it. We all saw the headlines flying across social media. Molly Qerim, the steady face of First Take for nearly a decade, didn't walk away with a champagne send-off or a glossy farewell montage. No smiles, no thank you for your service moment, just gone.
Also wonder, bro, like from a human perspective, Molly was your sidekick for 10 years. We don't need to know she abruptly resigned. Yeah. Protect her at all costs.
Yeah.
That's my big thing, Social Trey.
I thought she was here for the end of the year. I guess she's done now.
Remember, she didn't want it to leak because Molly ends up putting out a statement that, hey, it's unfortunately leaked. I didn't want it to, etc. But protect her at all costs.
Her resignation hit in mid-September 2025, and insiders say the date alone has people in Bristol twitching. Executives scrambled to sell the story as normal business, with Magnus desperately repeating that there was no controversy behind the move. But come on, who believed that? Even the suits couldn't keep a straight face while pretending everything was fine.
Describe yourself in 3 words.
Aware, thoughtful, and passionate.
What do you have too much of?
Shoes.
Guilty pleasure.
Retail therapy.
What would you do if you didn't host First Take?
I would work for a global nonprofit or host a travel.
Behind the cameras, panic spread fast. 10 years sitting in that chair, and suddenly her name vanished like it had never been there. The official press release was soft, polite, the usual PR lullaby. But anyone paying attention could feel it. Something way deeper was going on. The leaks were coming from every corner of the building, and people were whispering like a storm was about to hit.
Let's remember, wasn't it just last week Stephen A. was on air bragging about the people he stood up for to get paid and how many, Cam, I did it for Shannon Sharp and I did it for this person and that person. And when I look at the abrupt, like, nah, I'm not coming into work tomorrow.
Yeah.
That also is like, maybe there's pointing the finger at Stephen A. Smith.
The first real eyebrow raiser came straight from Molly's own Instagram. Her farewell post had fans squinting at their screens like detectives. She thanked the audience for welcoming me into your homes, called it an honor and a privilege, sprinkled in the usual Emmy night sweetness. But something was off. No mention of why she was leaving, no hint of what pushed her out, nothing but vague pleasantries wrapped in pretty words. Behind the scenes, ESPN was reportedly still negotiating to keep her. But from that post, you'd think she was already halfway out the door. And then came the part that sent everyone into gossip overdrive.
It's quitting right now. Both ESPN and Molly Qerim, they are trying to polish this. They're trying to make this look like an amicable divorce. And look, maybe that's true. Maybe that's true. Maybe they couldn't come to an agreement and they agreed to amicably part ways. I'm more interested in why.
She never once mentioned Stephen A. Smith. Not a tag, not a thank you, not even a casual, it's been real. For someone who'd shared the desk, the spotlight, and a decade of fiery on-air battles with the network's loudest voice, that silence screamed louder than any statement could. And if you think this whole drama is just people overanalyzing social media manners, think again.
I looked up to Stephen A. Smith for a very, very long time. He was one of the reasons why I got into sports media, but then I ended up meeting him. Wasn't the most, one of those don't meet your hero type experience. I don't know all the details, and I'm not going to tell you all the details because it's not your business. But I'm gonna be honest. It was an uncomfortable situation, and now watching him, get older, trying to go into the digital space, it can be a little.
Marcellus Wiley, former ESPN host and ex-NFL powerhouse, wasted no time before jumping on his mic and setting the internet ablaze. He went straight for the jugular on his podcast, claiming this entire mess came down to two things: money and control. According to Wiley, Molly laid it out clear: either pay me what I deserve or let me spread my wings and build my own empire. Boom! No sugarcoating, no spin. But ESPN, in all its big talk and boardroom ego, refused both.
Last night, she abruptly resigned as the host of the show. And to say that I'm quite sad about it is an understatement.
Wiley said plain and simple she was done taking morning show crumbs while carrying one of the biggest brands in sports television. And here's where things get even messier. Wiley dropped that the real tension wasn't just about salary, it was about Stephen A. Smith himself. The relationship had already started cracking behind the scenes. Wiley said if Stephen had really gone to bat for her, ESPN would have coughed up the cash instantly. But when that support didn't come, Molly became instantly disposable, like she never held the network down for a decade straight. He didn't stop there. Wiley spelled it out raw. When Stephen signs off on you, you get what you want. When he doesn't, you don't. That's how deep the politics ran.
Don't tell us the details, then tell us you're not going to tell us the details. Like,
and then add on that, I don't know the details. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Like he said this. He said she abruptly resigned. That's the detail.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to say, but don't ask me the details because I'm not going to tell y'all the details. That's none of y'all business.
You could be the backbone of a top-rated show and still be out-earned by analysts with smaller audiences. Wiley even name-dropped Mina Kimes, claiming she pulled a bigger paycheck while Molly was stuck fighting for scraps. It wasn't just gossip, it was a full-on expose.
The other thing I thought, Steve, was when you pay Stephen A. Smith $20 million, that means, okay, well, whoever his co-host is, they're going to want an exorbitant amount of money. And so she may have been making $2.5, $3 million as the host. Well, when Stephen A. is sitting there making 20, well, maybe now she wants to make 10.
Wiley made sure every listener understood exactly how cold things get when Stephen A.'s stamp of approval goes missing. Meanwhile, ESPN kept smiling for the cameras, pretending nothing was wrong. No drama, no fallout, just a new chapter. Yeah, right.
Oftentimes when you have someone abruptly quit a job, they're not leaving on the best terms. Normally, it's polite to give your employer some kind of notice, right?
Burke Magnus and the top execs pushed their squeaky clean version like a rehearsed PR script, claiming Molly simply wanted to turn the page after a decade on First Take. We were all supposed to believe that everyone was still friends, everything was tidy, and one of the biggest on-air shakeups in years just happened because she wanted a change of scenery. But the evidence? It told a whole different story. Even Magnus slipped up, admitting, "The timing wasn't what we planned." That line alone blew their narrative wide open. Molly's agent refused to comment. Another red flag.
When I heard that it was immediate, I was like, oh, she must already have a job lined up. Mm-hmm. And the job that she has lined up must be some sort of competitor to ESPN. And so that made me, is she going to Fox Sports?
While ESPN insiders whispered that the network was already testing replacements behind the scenes before her seat even got cold, and it got uglier. Reports surfaced that ESPN was quietly trying out names like Malika Andrews, Joy Taylor, even Peter Schrager for that golden host chair. It was a public scramble, a desperate attempt to patch the hole before fans noticed the ship was taking water. Then came the twist that lit up every newsroom.
Jason, I actually watched that whole video clip of Stephen A. Smith. I just thought it was funny. It ain't none of y'all business. It was a contract negotiation. Well, oh, so that was about the money. Thanks, Stephen. Thanks for cluing us. It's always about the money, though. It's like in boxing. Why didn't this fight happen? Easy, there wasn't enough money.
Fox Sports was waiting in the wings with an offer worth millions. Word is, Fox had been circling for months, planning to hand Molly prime coverage spots, NFL, college football, even lead studio roles. And let's be real, you don't set up deals like that overnight. Someone on the inside must have whispered, This house is about to burn.
I think we'll start with Molly Qerim. She, yesterday when we talked, we knew that she was leaving, but we didn't know she was leaving like immediately, which is an indication that, man, this thing's a bit more complicated than just they couldn't settle on the money. It just seems more serious. She's off the show now.
Back in Bristol, the heat was reaching boiling point. It wasn't just Molly's eerie silence about Stephen A. Smith. It was his reaction that set off alarm bells. Suddenly, the loudest man in sports media went quiet. Too quiet. When he finally broke his silence on First Take, he laid on a sugary tribute thick enough to make your teeth ache, calling Molly a friend and an enormous part of the show's success. But come on, everyone could feel the performance. Emmanuel Acho sure did. He wasn't buying a single word of it. On his own show, he fired back saying, "Don't tell us you know something, then say you're not gonna tell us what it is." That hit hard. Because Stephen A. was doing exactly that, teasing half-truths like a showman pulling coins from thin air. He told viewers the details were none of y'all business, then turned around and admitted he had an idea why Molly left. Wait, what? So he knows something, but won't say it? That's classic Stephen A. Stirring mystery while acting like the innocent bystander. It was the sports media version of a street hustle, the old shell game. 1 second the truth's right there, the next it's gone, hidden under another cup.
Molly is a friend. Molly is a co-worker. Molly is somebody that I have leaned on many occasions in the past, as she has done when it comes to me. We've been partners on the show for the last 10 years.
Molly's keeping quiet, Steven's playing coy, and fans are left watching this PR chess match unfold. And let's be real, this wasn't coincidence. Not during a heated contract standoff, not after 10 years of chemistry, tension, and behind-the-scenes politics. And just when everyone thought the chaos had settled, boom, the smoke barely cleared from Molly's sudden exit, and ESPN pulled a move that had jaws dropping everywhere.
And a lot of times, some of these things happen, and it's just uncomfortable to see. The details, quite frankly, are none of y'all business. But it's not as if I know all the details. It was a contract negotiation that was going on. ESPN certainly did not want to lose her. But in the end, she made a decision.
Only days after her chair went cold, the network started rolling out shiny new power upgrades for Stephen A. Smith like he just won a corporate lottery. First came the shocker. Stephen A. was announced as part of Monday Night Football. That's not just any gig. That's the NFL's crown jewel, a show so tightly controlled by the league that only a select few ever get through those doors. And here was Stephen, stepping right into the center spotlight, shoulder to shoulder with Jason Kelce, Scott Van Pelt, and the rest of the football elite. Let's not forget, this man was already sitting on a $100 million mega deal, yet suddenly he's expanding into every corner of ESPN's empire. Then he dropped the line that made fans raise their eyebrows. "They'll certainly want more of me on NBA Countdown. Whatever's going to help make the network successful." Seriously? The timing couldn't have been more suspicious.
Whether she goes to FS1 or launches her own show on YouTube, I wish Molly Qerim nothing but the best. I don't want to see her fail, but at the same time, I don't see a path to success. It is hard to build an audience by yourself. It's hard to build and sustain an audience when it's just you.
1 week, Molly's reportedly fighting for creative control and fair pay. The next, she's gone, and Stephen's face is plastered across every ESPN broadcast. The message was loud and clear. ESPN had chosen its golden boy, and they were betting everything on him to carry the brand into the next decade. That's the part social media exploded over.
What's up, everybody? I'm Molly Qerim, and do you know the real me? Find out. Kayla, let's go.
Molly's sudden disappearance didn't look like a simple goodbye. It looked like a chess move straight out of a corporate power playbook. Fans, insiders, even ex-employees started connecting the dots, whispering that her exit was way too perfectly timed to be random. The theory: ESPN cleared the board for Stephen A. Smith to become the ultimate face of the network, the guy who could represent them in every major league deal. With Molly gone, there was no one left in his way, no one to question his growing influence or his tight grip on the spotlight. Suddenly, ESPN could hand the NFL whatever it wanted. And with Stephen front and center on Monday Night Football, the message was crystal clear: Molly's empty chair became a symbol, a quiet reminder that power always comes at a cost. Fans even speculated that this wasn't just about contracts or careers, but about politics and partnerships. The price ESPN paid to keep its golden relationship with the league intact. And while the official press releases kept talking about new opportunities and fresh chapters, the truth was bubbling just below the surface. In sports media, exits like this aren't endings. They're warning shots. What's coming next isn't calm. It's a full-blown power reshuffle that could rewrite ESPN's entire playbook. Even before the dust from Molly's shocking exit had fully settled, ESPN's Magnus was already out on his media tour, clinging to one line like it was a lifeline. "There's no shoe to drop." He repeated it so many times it started to sound like a prayer. The goal was obvious: calm the speculation, keep the wolves at bay. But instead, it poured gasoline on the fire. Because if there was really nothing going on behind the scenes, why did ESPN's reaction feel like a full-blown crisis response plan? Fans noticed it, insiders noticed it, everyone did. Just days after insisting everything was business as usual, ESPN suddenly rolled out a shiny new multi-year extension for Malika Andrews. And the timing? Beyond suspicious. Malika's deal was locked in just hours after Molly's departure went public. Her own Instagram announcement was barely dry before ESPN blasted out their press release. Like they'd been waiting for this moment all along. Then, to top it off, the network started rotating a lineup of temporary First Take hosts, one after another, for a 30 to 45-day evaluation period. Seriously, that's not improvisation, that's preparation. You don't build a replacement list overnight unless someone already saw this train coming. So when Burt kept saying, "no shoe to drop," fans couldn't help but laugh. Because if this is what no drama looks like, then the rest of us must be watching the wrong business. From the outside, the whole thing looked way too clean to be coincidence. One anchor cut loose, another suddenly promoted, and a whole lineup of replacements already marching through Bristol like soldiers in formation. The cameras never stopped rolling, and neither did the gossip online. Fans weren't fooled for a second by ESPN's creative freedom and fresh start storyline. Please. Social media was convinced this had been orchestrated for months. The whispers started flying. Had the network already prepared for Molly's exit behind closed doors? Was Malika Andrews handpicked to take over as ESPN's new franchise face long before Molly even typed her goodbye post? The timing made it hard to deny. Every move felt pre-scheduled, like the whole machine just switched gears the second Molly walked out the door. Even Magnus let it slip when he said, "Her timing wasn't what we planned." Translation? They weren't ready for her to jump. But everything else sure looked like it was waiting on standby. By the time Molly's Instagram farewell hit the timeline, the engine was already running, new hosts lined up, promotions locked, and a PR message polished to perfection. For all the talk about succession plans and smooth transitions, ESPN still couldn't escape the one storm it feared most: the controversy swirling around Stephen A. Smith himself. The man at the top of the food chain was suddenly under a microscope, and clips from the archives started resurfacing. Moments that now looked way different in hindsight. One in particular set social media ablaze, that weird on-air joke where Stephen A. commented on Molly's eating habits during a break, comparing it to a panelist refusing to kiss snakes. At the time, it passed as a random joke, but now, fans were calling it odd, inappropriate, and even disrespectful. Some began to wonder if it hinted at deeper tension between the two, or maybe even a quiet resentment simmering behind the camera. These little slip-ups, harmless or not, became fuel for a growing narrative that ESPN had been protecting its golden boy while holding everyone else to stricter standards. Critics claimed the network bent over backward to keep Smith untouchable, even as other hosts got slammed for way less. And sure enough, while Molly's chair was still warm, Stephen was already climbing higher, untouched, unstoppable, sitting in his new NFL spotlight while the internet tore the story apart. But the question that hung in the air was impossible to ignore. Why did Molly stay silent? Was it out of professionalism? Or was there something deeper she couldn't say? Her silence, no tag, no thank you, no comment, became its own kind of statement. Fans read between every line, wondering if she'd been told to keep things clean or if she simply didn't want to spark a war she couldn't win. Meanwhile, Stephen A. played his part perfectly. Controlled, cool, calculated. When pressed, he just smirked and said, "That story is for her to tell. Do I have an idea? Of course I do. Am I gonna share it with you? No. And that one line, it blew everything wide open. He knew something, and instead of calming the rumors, he poured gasoline on every single one. Theories exploded overnight, timelines filled with speculation, and fans started to wonder if Stephen A. Smith was sitting on the kind of secret that could blow the lid off ESPN itself. We can't pretend this whole situation is just about bruised egos or fading friendships. There's a much bigger machine grinding behind the scenes. What's really pulling the strings here isn't emotion. It's the NFL. The league's gravitational pull is massive, and ESPN looks more than willing to orbit as close as it takes to keep that billion-dollar partnership glowing. Just look at the timing. It's almost too perfect to ignore. Molly Qerim suddenly out, Stephen A. Smith promoted to Monday Night Football, and Fox Sports conveniently waiting with a multi-million-dollar offer for Molly to cover. What else? NFL and college football. It's poetic and ironic all at once. Both their next moves revolve around the exact same golden ticket, the National Football League. For ESPN, the NFL isn't just a property. It's the heartbeat of their future. The money, the ratings, the prestige, everything runs through football. So when push came to shove, any decision that tightened that relationship, even if it meant sidelining a loyal host who helped build the brand, suddenly became smart business. According to insiders, it's not about authentic debate, on-screen chemistry, or journalistic credibility anymore. It's about who keeps the league executives smiling, who fills those broadcast slots with ad dollars, and who's willing to play the corporate game. Inside ESPN, the atmosphere is changing fast, and everyone can feel it. The culture shift is in full motion, and all eyes are locked on the next big signal. Tryouts for Molly Qerim's old chair began while her name was still trending on every feed, and that alone said everything. Courtney Cronin, Joy Taylor, Peter Schrager. Sure, they're strong names, talented even, but none of them come with Molly's decade of history, her leverage, or her audience loyalty. Yet ESPN keeps pushing the same message. First Take will go on. The debates never stop. But behind the confident press releases, the truth is way more uncomfortable. Stephen A's power has never been higher. And the new unspoken rule is clear. Keep the peace, or you'll be out before your contract even hits renewal. And let's talk numbers, because that's where the real story lives. Stephen A's $100 million mega deal didn't just make him ESPN's highest paid star, it made him the blueprint for the network's new world order. His face is the brand, his voice is the product, and his loyalty isn't to his co-hosts. It's to the league. While the ink on Stephen's deal was still drying, insiders couldn't help but compare it to Molly's stalled contract talks, where even modest requests for a raise or more creative freedom got shut down like she was asking for the moon. The contrast was brutal. Stephen A. got rewarded for being the yes man, the guy who'd step onto any set, cover any league, say whatever ESPN's corporate partners needed to hear. Molly wanted independence. Stephen offered compliance. Guess which one the billion-dollar machine chose? At ESPN now, the message couldn't be clearer. Loyalty to the league is the real currency, and those who play by the network's rules get the bag. This new hierarchy at ESPN isn't just about money or job titles, it's psychological. The entire culture is shifting, and Stephen A. Smith sits dead center in the storm. His evolution from fiery commentator to polished corporate ambassador changed everything. Now, every decision, every contract, every casting call, every promotion ripples outward from him. To some inside the building, Stephen isn't just a personality anymore. He's a symbol of ESPN's transformation. The network that once thrived on fiery debate and raw authenticity has morphed into something colder, more strategic, more controlled. The guy who used to spar for fans now sells access, star power, and league harmony. It's no longer about journalism, it's about relationships and ratings. And then there's Molly Qerim. Her sudden disappearance and the eerie silence that followed it became a warning shot for everyone still clinging to the old ideals of loyalty and fair play. The way her legacy was quietly ghosted as if a decade of work never existed sent chills through the halls of Bristol. Stephen's rise wasn't just about charisma or chemistry. It was the result of ESPN reshaping itself into something entirely new, a service arm for the biggest sports leagues in America. And if protecting those billion-dollar relationships means pushing out the people who built the brand, For Molly Qerim, the outcome couldn't have been clearer. While Stephen A. Smith's flexibility and loyalty to ESPN's league partners earned him more power, more shows, and near untouchable status, her refusal to bow to the same system came at a brutal cost. She pushed for fairness, creative freedom, and respect, and instead got shown the door. This wasn't just a workplace fallout, it was a collision of values. On one side, corporate loyalty, money, and league relationships. On the other, journalistic integrity, on-air chemistry, and independence. That clash has come to define the new ESPN. The faces may rotate, the sets may change, but the game is the same. Whoever plays by the billion-dollar playbook wins, and whoever questions it gets replaced. Inside the network, everyone knows it. The biggest contracts now dictate the storylines. Future hosts and producers are already watching this saga like a manual on survival. How far can you speak your mind before it costs you your job? How much truth can you tell before it interferes with league harmony? For fans who remember when debates felt real, when passion trumped politics, the Smith-Qerim split hits deeper than gossip. It's a warning. It shows exactly what kind of network ESPN is becoming, one where control outweighs authenticity. And here's the delicious twist of irony, the very thing Molly reportedly wanted from ESPN, creative power, her own platform, the freedom to speak her mind, is exactly what Fox Sports is now dangling in front of her with millions on the table. Her farewell Instagram post said it all with 2 small words: stay tuned. That wasn't a goodbye, that was a promise. And if her next chapter really gives her the platform she was fighting for, don't be surprised if Molly Qerim finally breaks her silence and tells the world exactly what went down behind those closed doors. Did Molly Qerim see things she wasn't supposed to? Backroom deals, whispered negotiations, decisions made not for the fans or the fiery debates, but to keep ESPN's billion-dollar NFL partnerships airtight? That's the question burning through every timeline right now. Was her silence bought, or is she just waiting for the perfect moment to drop her own bombshell? Even Stephen A. Smith seems uneasy whenever her name comes up. He dodges every question, refuses to spill a single detail, and the more he says nothing, the louder the speculation gets. Fans can feel it. Something big is hiding just beneath the surface. And that brings us here to ESPN's tightrope act. The network is desperately trying to shift the spotlight, flooding screens with new hosts, new faces, and endless league coverage. Anything to make people forget the sudden disappearance of the woman who helped build First Take. But no matter how polished the distractions, Molly's silence still echoes louder than any PR statement. Her next move is the wild card nobody can predict. If she steps out with a tell-all interview or drops receipts about what really went down between ESPN and the NFL, the fallout could be massive. Imagine the headlines if she confirms that loyalty inside the building belongs not to the fans or the journalists, but to the billion-dollar deals running the show behind the scenes. Right now, Stephen A. is shining brighter than ever, stepping deeper into the NFL spotlight. But that empty chair beside him? It's not just a set piece, it's a symbol, a reminder that the story isn't over yet. So what happens when the truth finally breaks? Will ESPN stand with its fans and journalists, or with the league that writes the checks? Because one way or another, this story's end is going to shake the entire sports world. Drop your hottest theories in the comments below. Do you think Molly's silence is strategic, or is she under contract to keep quiet? Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and share this video if you think we're about to see the truth come out. And until next time, keep your eyes open, your popcorn ready, and remember, in the world of sports scandals, nothing stays buried for long. See you in the next one.